No fishing today. My waders popped a hole in them yesterday. Discovered that on the way home. Minor problem. And then found out today, it's a friend of mine, lifelong friend, great friend, has cancer. This so sucks so bad. Very, very hard working. Mom of 2 teenagers. Very hard working. I understand there's a pile of people out there who don't have such bright stories right now. They're everywhere. There's people everywhere, especially with the cancer thing. But I just don't know what to do. There's not much I can do. It's very frustrating, so I would kill for this person to protect her if needed be. And one of the most, as usual, everybody describes that person as that person, you know, the happy person. Everybody loves them. Always had a positive outlook on life, even though they were dealt so many hard blows. And it's very frustrating for me. It's just very frustrating that you can't really do much. But anyway, I am gonna just throw it out there. She's a single mom of 2 beautiful kids. Her ex was an abusive, drug-addicted alcoholic, dark soul, and really tried to make life hell for her. And she has made life great for everybody who knows her or who she has touched in her life. Always positive, always happy. Anyways, I'm babbling. I'm going to put a link to her GoFundMe that was set up for her in the video description below, in case, if anything, anybody wants to throw it on 50 cents, I don't care. But it's about all I can do right now. I don't know what to do. It's very frustrating, hard, right? And there's many of you out there who have experienced the same or experiencing the same. It's very frustrating. And I continue to do whatever I can for them while she's going through what she's going through, and pray that she makes it. Anyway, so moving along. No fishing today. And it's still pretty darn cold out, and I'm going to take a time out here in the truck. The acoustics are good in here, you know? I just got back and going and doing a bunch of stuff. On that note, on this topic note, I ran into a lifelong friend just a minute ago. Sarah and I took her niece for a treat and a coffee to the local deli, and there is a friend of mine who was a very good friend of mine years ago when I lived nearby here. It was so funny seeing him again. We're making plans to go steelhead fishing together. And he's saying how he's seen a bunch of my videos online, and then he mentioned, hey, I saw one of your Sasquatch videos, and he broke out laughing. Laughing as in it was very funny. Which obviously is not very funny once you've seen them or know, right? Which is fine. He's not insulting in any way, but he honestly thinks it's funny, for real. So I'd imagine we're going to be having quite the conversation when we go fishing with each other. And we'll see if he wants to pursue the topic, I'll fill him in. And we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll talk him. Maybe I will see if he will agree to having that conversation on video for us, for all you to listen to. I think that'd be interesting. Very interesting to hear me speaking with someone who I trust in my life, who thinks this topic is a joke, and see how that conversation goes. Wouldn't that be interesting? I think I will see if maybe he will be game. But anyway, if any of you do have any need to possibly send a prayer, my friend Michelle, send a prayer her way, or you got a buck or two, whatever, anything will help, right? She's got 2 teenagers, and I appreciate that much. All right, I'm all over the map. Let's get sharing some stuff here, all right? But we'll keep that in mind. When I hook up with my friend, we go fishing. I'm going to go for a couple days, and I'm going to take him to those remote river spots. And I'm going to go engage him in a conversation. I hope he does it on video for you to share that conversation with me and see how it goes. All right, listen to this. What we saw and heard. Hello, not sure if this is the right email to send this to, and I apologize if it's not, but here we go. My wife Zoe and I, and my name is Jimmy Holloway. We took a trip in a new small 18-foot camper we had just bought to Colorado, 20 miles northwest of Pagosa Springs, Colorado, to a nice little camping site. After getting the camper set up, no periods again, or Couple commas, but no periods, you guys, so I'll do the best I can. I don't know how people do that. I've never done the voice text thing. I guess maybe that's it. I don't know. To a nice little camping site. After getting the camper set up, I pulled the four-wheeler out of the back of the pickup and took off exploring around the mountains and roads and trails. We only have one bike, so my wife rides off the rack on the back with a cushion, and we must have drove 200 miles all over. We was on a trail we took and came across a campground that you could tell was abandoned. When I say abandoned, I mean they left everything. Tent, sleeping bags, cooler, chairs, everything. We stopped and started looking around because we wasn't sure if something was wrong, as in, did someone need help or worse? They was dead. As we checked everything, we could tell that the stuff had been there at least 2 months or so. The food was rotten, but we felt like, who leaves the $300 cooler in the middle of nowhere? And we could tell that someone or something had gone through all the stuff because the stuff was thrown around. At that point, we started calling to see if anyone was around, but we got no answer. So I told my wife, I'll mark the spot on my GPS and we'll tell the ranger after we get back to the camper. But that was just the beginning, because I'm reading this word for word, as we was getting our butts back on the four-wheeler, we hear a loud thump, and I looked around and saw a rock rolling. I stopped, pulled up my 45 as I was thinking, bear or cat. My wife at this point was like, what the hell was that? Then another one hit about 20 feet away. But I could tell what direction it came from. It takes a lot to scare me. I'm ex-Army cavalry scout and have spent tons of hours in the wild, and I grew up hunting with my uncle. So I know wild animals and what they can do and what they can't do. And I've never seen anything that can throw big rocks like what came our way. So to me, I was thinking human, right? But I was ready to defend myself. But my wife was like, let's go. And I was like, no, I have to see this. I started running towards the person I thought was doing this. I must have went 100 yards or so, and I could tell whoever it was faster than me. But I am 60 years old and half crippled up from back surgery and 6 different leg surgeries. So I gave up and turned around because I knew my wife would be in panic mode. LOL. As I got back to the bike, she was ready to get out of there. About that time, we heard this deep, loud yell or scream that even scared me. That was okay. We're out of here. I jumped on and started the bike. I started moving. At that point, I saw something ahead of us, and I slammed on the brakes. It ran across the trail about 30 yards in front of us, and it was moving at a speed no person could. My wife had her phone out holding over my shoulder, and she was like, go. And I hit the gas, and we was moving. But this thing wanted us out. It chased us. But this thing wanted us out. It chased us for about a quarter mile. We could hear the heavy footsteps and branches breaking behind us as we motivated out of there. The next day, I looked at my wife's pictures, and she barely caught the edge of it. And it's blurry from us moving. But I ran into the ranger and told him about what happened and the left behind camping gear, and showed him my GPS map, and he knew where it was. He also told me he personally had run into this animal a couple of times himself, but never told anyone because he didn't want to be seen as a nut. LOL. That made me feel better. I was never really a believer in Bigfoot before this, but I am now, and wish I could see it again, but my wife is like, you're nuts, and won't go back up there with me. LOL. Even though my chances of ever seeing it again is next to none, but I will say this. It is one of the most memorable things I've ever seen. It was dark brown or black, had to be 7 to 8 feet tall, and walking on 2 legs. I've included a picture of my wife and I on this trip and the shitty picture of what we saw. Thanks for your time and hope you don't think I'm a nut job, but I watched your videos. I don't think you will. My daughter thinks I'm nuts, but she's coming around. LOL. All right, thanks for that picture, man. Obviously, you can see there's something blurry in that photo. And, it'd be interesting if you did go back around there and got a hold of that park ranger again, the game warden, whatever it was, ranger, and see if he's interested in sharing what he knows. And I would almost bet money that he has been watching this channel. Possibly, right? I mean, we're getting millions of people are watching this channel monthly. The chances are good, and it would be good to hear what he knows, what he has seen, and what he knows about this topic so he could possibly share with us and help us with our knowledge, right? That reminds me, I remember years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, I was guiding for bears between Whistler, British Columbia and Squamish, British Columbia, which is obviously, if you guys have ever seen that Tricuni video clip of those mountain climbers on the Tricuni Peak, you can Google it up. And they videotaped that thing way down in the basin, walking up the snow-filled basin at a fast clip. And I was near there, and I found, same thing, I found a campsite pretty remote. I mean, it wasn't definitely no campground. I had to bash the truck to get up there. And I took note that the tent, sleeping bags, everything was just left and scattered around. And obviously, knowing what goes on around there quite often, obviously your brain goes straight to, wonder what scared the shit out of them. Right? Thanks for that email share, right? Appreciate it. Now, what's this one? More sharing from Ohio. Ohio, no shortage of shit going on in that state. Hello, Steve. My name is Mike from Ohio. I don't know if you remember me, but you share my experience titled, "They Stole My Joy of Hunting, and My Nephew Shot One." I've tried sending this before, but since the truth is spreading, I think you're getting jammed up. More truth. A few months back was the opening of bow season for deer here. My nephew, myself were standing on my 80-year-old dad's front porch. I asked my nephew Luke if he was planning on going to our cabin in southern Ohio to hunt. I told him I think he should stay away from there for obvious reasons. Just then, my father came out and asked what we were talking about. My nephew and I immediately quit talking. My dad is no nonsense, hardworking guy that tolerates no bullshit. I guess we were afraid of him saying, "What the hell is wrong with you two?" So I asked him if he ever heard anything like Bigfoot being down there around your cabin. By the way, that's where he grew up. Instead of calling us idiots, he dropped his head and asked what happened to us. Steve, I was floored. After we explained what happened, he said he was 12 or 13 years old. His dad, my grandfather, was off fighting in World War II. It was just him and my grandmother at home when a friend of his showed up with his mom and dad in a truck and asked if they could pick raspberries on our land. My grandmother told them yes, as long as my dad went with to pick some for her, and that way they wouldn't get lost. But my dad said they drove a ways on the log/coal road. When they stopped and began picking berries, my dad said they were probably a quarter mile from the truck, that he was picking berries, that his buddy and parents were missing, therefore he was deeper in the bush. All of a sudden, he said the father came running down the game trail, carrying his buddy with the wife in tow, and the father yelled at my dad to run now. My dad said he was backing out, but got tangled in the bramble a couple seconds before reaching the trail. When he was clear, he looked up the ridge and said there was the biggest, ugliest, naked, hairy man he had ever seen. He said he only got a glance, but said the thing was ripping up brush and dirt and throwing it in the air and growling. I asked my dad what happened because he quit talking and was just staring at the porch deck. He looked up at us and said he waited on his buddy and his parents at their truck. He said he doesn't remember passing them on the trail. After thinking about it, to me, that meant those things have been around that property since at least the 1940s. I asked my dad if he and his friend ever talked about it. He said he'd never seen him again, and that they had moved shortly after. I then asked if he told his mom. He said no, but he did get in trouble for losing the bucket his mom gave him to put raspberries in. P.S. I just listened to you telling about that guy that is trying to discredit your character. If you're listening, asshole, for your information, Steve has also read my encounter word for word, and is the one and only person I've wrote this down to. I'm not a violent man, but if you come to Ohio, look me up. Maybe you will take a helicopter ride to get some first aid. Wake up, in my dad's words, you effing idiot. Steve, thank you again for your truth. If you're ever in Ohio, you have a warm place to stay anytime. Be safe, brother. Peace. Mike, absolutely appreciate your previous share and this one too, man. Isn't it funny? It's just like when my grandfather told me about seeing one. Isn't that funny? How you know somebody all your life, trust them, your family, and they drop that bomb on you. And and of course, obviously, you always wonder why they never told you earlier, right? But as long as it gets out, Timings is what it is. Thanks again for sharing that email, man. Thanks for the backup. Appreciate it. All right, what do we got here? Finally got some answers. All right, here we go. Steve, first of all, thank you for this amazing forum and the selfless work that you do for the community that want answers. God bless you. Thank you very much for the kind words. My first Sasquatch experience happened while driving cross-country from Virginia to California. Me and my girlfriend and her friend were driving through Arkansas in the middle of the night, and we all heard that god-awful scream, kind of like Tarzan's scream, but 100 times more massive. I immediately asked what was that. Everyone else dismissed it. I can never even talk to people about it without people looking at you sideways. That's the frustration. Now for the answers. Okay, so the scientific community and the academic community will give you nothing but doublespeak, gobbledygook. It's like listening to a bad politician. So I looked elsewhere. There's a psychic in Ontario named Dr. Douglas Cottrell. He has a bit of information on this topic. He calls himself a deep trance psychic or quantum psychic. He has at least one YouTube channel dedicated to his readings. His readings cover all sorts of topics, mostly medical like cancer cures, etc. He's somewhat like the great early 20th century psychic Edgar Cayce. It is something that anyone with an open mind should check out. When asked about Bigfoot, he says these beings are hybrids created during the Atlantean era. They are a cross between a giant, now extinct ape, and a human female. They are created to do labor. Many of the cryptids that are out there were created during the Atlantean times. They have a lifespan of about 140 years. I'd also mention this also claims we humans supposed to live to 140 years, but we don't live in harmony with nature. Bigfoot apparently does. When that continent broke up and sank, they scattered to the four corners of the world. He also says they are hostile and to exercise caution. I'll leave you a link so you can view his videos below. My second sources came from a series of books originally published in the 1980s called The Law of One. The authors of the series had contacted some highly evolved seventh density beings. The books consists of a series of questions and answers through a psychic channel. There's a total of 4 books published, and the whole series are free online. I'll also post a link. When asked about Bigfoot, they say these are beings whose souls are from the planet Maldek. This is a planet that was positioned between Mars and Jupiter. They were a warlike people and eventually destroyed themselves and their planet. All that remains is the asteroid belt. The trauma of destroying their planet damaged their souls so they cannot fully inhabit a human body, which is third density. So they had to be demoted the second density. These sources claims that there are 3 types of Bigfoot. One is a though form. One is a though form. Not sure what that means, but that what was given. The animal density. You see, according to the source, the law of one. Everything in the universe has a density level or evolutionary level. 8 would be the highest. Humans are third density. Soon to be fourth density if we play our cards right. Believe it or not, this makes more sense than all the bull the scientific community and academia is spewing. I'll leave the links below, if you can. And after you review the material, please leave a link of the material on your YouTube channel for your viewers to look over. Feel free to use my full name. It's no big deal. Please keep this great channel going. God bless Lou Bailey. Okay, Lou, my notes, it doesn't save the links. But we do have Dr. Douglas Cottrell, Reverend Douglas Cottrell, James Cottrell, PhD, Bigfoot Myth or Reality. And then there's a quote in the bottom, beat me with the truth, don't torture me with lies. All right. Lou, thanks for that email, man. And obviously that's going to be a bit for your average brain to chew on, everything you just shared, right? Without thoroughly investigating for themselves first. But take from what you will or leave it, right? So Lou, if you want, put those links in the comment section below this video. All right? That'll be the best and easiest way for anybody out there who sends me links. My notes, don't share them. and some of them, most of them. So if it's links that you want to go with your story, put it in the comment section below when you hear your story shared to the people, all right? Thanks for that email, man. Thanks for that share. Gets the brains frickin' spinning, right? Excuse me. Where else? Okay, what's this one? I have to sift through because there's a bunch of emails in here as well that aren't meant for share on here, okay, guys? Okay, what's this one? They can go invisible. Oops, I just lost it. All right, what do we got here? Mark, this is red. This should be the last one. I gotta go in. I gotta go in and do some things for my friend. First story, location, Virginia. Dear Steve, my name is Boulder Nelson. Yes, you may use it. However, I am fine with using VA. I will not tell anyone exactly where they are. Finding Bigfoot, Jason wanted to put me and the location on his show. I declined. On with the first story and a bit about Boulder. My father is a U of Georgia wildlife biologist. He also helped invent the tranquilizer dart gun while testing the animals around the Savannah nuclear plant in Georgia. I quit school when I was 13. I trapped all winter and raced motocross in the summers. Later, I did go to university on a full football scholarship with a GED. Never done at this university before or since. After that, I was back to the woods. I spent approximately 200 to 250 days a year in the woods, hunting, trapping, and logging. Never, ever did I even think Sasquatch were real. Forward. I'm now a single father, raising an awesome son. I would take my son hunting deer and bear at age 9, made a harness with a pulley above, and he would sit 20 feet up with a 243 75 yards away from me. We had permission to hunt 1,500 plus acres of very remote mountain land full of caves and caverns, and did so until these Sasquatch encounters. 3 other men also had permission. They all stopped hunting there 1 year. After 1 year, would not discuss why. Approximately 2002, I was up 25 feet in my lock-on stand, totally calm, no wind day. All of a sudden, an oak tree, about 20 to 25 feet tall, was pushed over. At about 100 yards, I saw what I thought at the time was a bear walking away on 2 legs. It was thin, so I did not even think about a shot. Thinking back, it was no bear. Forward 15 years. My son is grown and off doing his thing, and I'm still the only man hunting this 1,500 plus acres. 2017, last day of muzzleloading in Virginia, I always leave the bottom 5-6 steps of my stands off of the tree and bring steps with me. This day I forgot my steps. I was still able to get up in my stand. The moon was crescent, and it was a very peaceful, quiet night, and there were large patches of snow on the ground. I was approximately 500 yards from the top of the mountain caves and 3 miles from any road. I sat in the stand until after 7:30 p.m., 2.5 hours after sunset. I decided to climb/slide down the tree. Very quietly, I lowered my pack and went down the tree. When I got near the bottom, remember I have no steps there, so I hugged the tree and slid approximately 10 feet down. I'm 6'1", 260 pounds. When my feet hit the ground, all hell broke loose about 75 to 100 yards above me towards the caves. At first, the screams were like from a single being that had been surprised. Within 2 to 4 seconds, the screams changed from one animal to several, and not a surprise-sounding scream, but aggressive as hell. It sounded like I was at the Washington, D.C. Zoo in the mountain gorilla exhibit, and they wanted me out. I almost left my pack tied to the tether rope and ran. Then I said, hell no, I'm not prey. I did turn my back to them, as you should with mountain gorillas, and untied my back in the dark. I rarely must have meant pack. I rarely walk out of the woods with a flashlight and had no idea where it was. LOL. So I untied my pack and made myself walk out to the edge of the cliff I was on, slide down, and ran the F out of there. Steve, I have a ton of great wildlife stories. Sunrise, my brother and I attacked by a pack of wild dogs at age 13. He was 11. That would suck. I shot the lead dog on his hind legs inches from me with my bow. The rest of the pack split when he screamed and later died. Point is, I ain't scared of anything. I will say this, Bigfoot encounter and more encounters later have changed my life. I've not hunted since 2019. I'll send you the next encounter soon. God bless you sincerely, Boulder. Here are 2 videos of the next year. I finally went back to location. I had my son's backpack and he keeps a GoPro Hero in it, or I wouldn't have got these pics or vids. All right, so it doesn't, okay, I'm going to have to go back in my email and see if I can download that on the big computer, all right? I do have one photograph here. It looks to be a footprint. And what I'm going to do is when I go inside, I will dig up your email again. I'll see what's on there and if I can copy it and throw it in the video and share it with everybody here, all right, man? Crazy shit goes on in the woods. Always has, always will. Crazy. All right, my brain's zinging. All I'm thinking about is remembering this email so I can go in and search out the rest of the links. That's what I'm going to do right now. And if any of you have it in you to possibly help out my friend, I'll put the link in the video description below. If you do, thank you so much. You at least send her a prayer. It'll be much appreciated, okay? All right, here I go. I'll be back tomorrow.